Welcome to the Get Back, music work talk in Central Texas, Fridays at 1 p.m. Brought to you by the Austin Federation of Musicians and with the Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee. The Unemployment Compensation Advisory Committee are members of the Austin Federation of Musicians, Local 433 of the American Federation of Musicians, aka the Musicians Union. Some of us work as contractor 1099 workers, and others work as employee W-2 workers in various aspects of the music industry.
The goal of this session is to share our experiences, including trials and tribulations related to the Texas Workforce Commission, or TWC, with other musicians in the state of Texas to aid in navigating the TWC application process. We are not experts in unemployment assistance. We are musicians.
The information contained herein does not constitute either legal advice or an official pronouncement or a position of the Austin Federation of Musicians, but rather is only the personal opinions of the panelists. The panelists do not give legal advice or make official rulings on agency matters, should not be cited as authorities in any matter before the agency or when dealing with agency staff about a case, and must minimize their involvement with administrative processes. They also do not give legal advice on any other matter, and any information they should give should not be used as a basis for taking any employment-related action. Before taking any employment action that could adversely affect an employee, or before using any sample form or policy you may obtain from this group, you should consult a licensed, private sector, employment law attorney of your choice. All right, welcome to the Get Back. It is March 4th, 2022, and we're back here. I'm Aaron, and Russell's with us. Hello, Russell. Yeah. Gosh, we always talk about the links down in the show description. That's where you can find how to get a hold of our local union here in Austin for the Austin jurisdiction, which is the 11 counties around Austin, and also other resources about music work. And gosh, that's where the articles that we discussed today will be when you watch the archived version of the show. They're not there yet, but they will be. And yeah, then we always talk about beverages. I'm doing coffee once again.
I got
a
spring
beverage?
water sitting right over here.
Yeah, there you go.
Just out of arm's length.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, remarkably consistent.
That's right.
If Brother Mark was here, I bet he would have green tea, but we'll find out next week probably. Yeah, man. All right. Well, we'll probably have kind of a short show today, but there's still a lot to talk about. I guess probably the most important thing to talk about here in the Austin area is the COVID-19 guidelines. We just went down to stage 2 today. Mm-hmm. And gosh, I mean, like beginning of last week, we were in stage 5. And I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday last week, we went down to stage 4.
Right.
And Tuesday of this week, went down to stage 3. Now stage 2 is dropping really fast, which is really good news, obviously, for the virus, spread. But it's really good news for entertainment business, of course, because folks are more comfortable going out, and they don't have to wear masks as much. So that's good news. Hopefully folks will come out to more performances. I can definitely attest that I feel like more performances are being booked, which is kind of what we experienced back in October, November. Lots of things going back up on the calendar. So musicians, watch out for that. Make sure you remember how to use your calendar. Right. That's really important. Because just as a professional concern, you don't want to be missing any of those dates that you have booked. Something you want to make into a good habit every time you make an engagement, book something. Make sure it's in your calendar too, so and you can also book other things based on the things you've already booked. Anyway, seems remedial, but coming out of the pandemic, you know how
doing that yesterday.
Yes, yeah. It's just like playing music. It's the fundamentals, right?
That's right.
just like
It's
learning
important.
your basic rhythms and scales and things. Your calendar habits are fundamental to the whole business of actually playing and performing music as a business. So, yeah, gosh, so yeah, that's really good news. And just how fast this has been going down. I don't think we've actually been in stage one since before the pandemic really began. I'm not sure exactly when the last time we were in stage one, but it was a long time ago.
Right. Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
we can't remember.
And the way that they calculate the stages has been changed a little bit too. They do it based on the transmission rate now and a couple other things. So it's not the same as it was last year exactly, but anyway, it's really good news. Either way, oh yeah, it's really good to hear. So yeah, man, I did. Gosh, I just picked up a gig just before the broadcast, subbing for a musician who's sick, but not with COVID, with the other stuff. The cedar level is still really high, and I was hoping we would be done with that by now, but we're not. It's still around. So, yeah, definitely keep doing your Flonase or whatever you're doing,
Right.
and yeah, drinking some tea and whatnot.
'Cause you will need it.
hmm and of course, just like in the fall, everybody's still really probably more comfortable with outdoor gigs right now, outdoor performances, at least as far as attending them. I know musicians are probably more comfortable with them as long as the weather is cooperative, which it's getting more cooperative. But as we go into the spring, rain is a concern, so that's something to keep in mind. Does your gig have a rain date, especially if
Right.
you're booking for April and the rest of March? Yeah, does it have a rain location? Does it have is it covered? Because outdoor is good, but yeah, we got to
But
be able
what
to.
if?
Yeah, what if exactly? Yeah, so get that into contract for sure. Um, yeah, man, jeez. What else here? Geez, there's an article in the paper about the home prices in Austin. They're expected to keep rising this year, but at a slower pace. I guess that's good news. Um, yeah, I mean, anecdotally and anonymously, of course, I just talked to a musician um, who is having to move out of their house because they're renting it, and the owner just said, "Oh my gosh, I can get 1.3 million for this house. I got to sell." And so the person has like 30 days to get out of their house. It's, oh man, and that's happened to me several times in this city, Um, and gosh, I mean, just it's like a 2-1, and then there's a garage apartment in the back, and apparently whoever is buying the property is planning on renting the 2-1 rental house for $3,000 a month, and the 400 square foot garage apartment for like $1,500 a month for 400 square feet. So,
And they'll get it.
wow! I mean, that'll really blow your hair back. I mean, yeah. So, yeah, that's really a huge problem in urban Austin. Just for us as musicians, sort of getting kicked, priced out of the location, literally getting kicked out of the the houses. And yeah, wow. So watch out there. Like I say, they expect it to keep rising in 2022. I've heard things that it's considered to be an overvalued market, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go down. It just
Right. Yeah.
means that the
They'll
increase
cap
might
that.
might slow down for a while. That's all I would expect on that. So yeah, stay vigilant, and we got to keep talking to each other about where the cheap housing is because it's going to be a concern for all of us. Yeah. Oh man, what else is on the docket here? We've been kind of following the settlements with the city of Austin with the protesters that were injured in 2020, the summer of 2020, and another one this week. Another injured protester got a settlement. 2.95 million is the one from this week. So now I think that's 3 that have gotten pretty big settlements who were horribly injured, and So we'll see, you know, and the musicians were part of that group that really got injured. There were several musicians in there. I don't think any of the ones that have been gotten the settlements yet have been musicians. Well, we'll keep covering it. I mean, yeah, and it's just something to watch out for. The you know, relations with the police and public safety affects all of our work. You know,
Sure.
people have to feel safe.
And it wasn't just random officers; it was the ones that have recently been indicted.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's what they were indicted about. Yeah. And
Yeah.
So yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We're not talking about the entire police force here. We're talking about
So just a few.
Yeah. Yeah. So something to watch out for. The next article I wanted to bring up is about Austin's taxi cab industry and how it's suffering. And I mean that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. I mean that's sort of what everyone knew. You know, Uber and Lyft and the rideshare companies would do. They would totally destabilize that taxi cab industry and sort of make it. In the end, if you destroy the taxi cab industry, then your taxi transportation system becomes a lot less reliable because the apps allow that's the whole attraction of them for the workers is that they allow them to work when they want to and to say nothing of the actual labor issues where taxi cab drivers are actually employees, whereas Uber and Lyft drivers are contractors and don't have employee rights, and there's all this stuff where they're mistreated by those employers, sometimes without even knowing it because the app looks so pretty. It's such a pretty app, and that type of thing is coming to the music business as well. There's several companies working on appifying or gamifying music booking, and we've got to watch out for that too.
Not to mention that when they just pirate all your information.
Mm-hmm. Which they?
Uber.
Oh yeah.
It's notorious for that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, to sell advertising or to sell to other what do you call it? Work apps or that type of thing. The gig economy type apps. Yeah, they all sell the information to each other, and yeah, you got to watch out. But anyway, there's something here about the city getting ready to throw a lifeline to the taxi cab industry. So that could be a good thing. I guess we'll just have to see. Yeah, because it's a concern. When you make you sort of incentivize the folks doing that type of work to only work when there's lots of work, then no one's working when there's not a lot of work, and then you can't get that cab ride to the airport at 5 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning when you need it, or something. So, so, and that affects all of us too. You got to get some instruments or get to a flight for a tour or something.
There is that.
Yeah, man. So, gosh. The next thing I've got here is the primary election that happened this week. You can see all the results, but the interesting thing is that some of the races have gone to primaries, and there are races that we need to make an impact in for sure. So we all got to make sure we vote in that primary election. But which primary you vote in, I'm not sure exactly which one is more important for the runoffs. Which runoff you vote in, whether it's the Democratic vote-off or the Republican vote runoff. I'm not sure. There's important stuff on both for labor, but one of the most important things is the Attorney General, the Texas Attorney General race, and so on the Republican side, that is going to a runoff with Ken Paxton and George P. Bush. And the main reason that's important is we got to get Paxton out of there. We've just talked about that for so many years now. And so, yeah, I mean, on the Republican side, if you're voting in that primary, yeah, we probably vote for another Bush. It's another Bush. Because we need to get Paxton out of there. But if you're on the Republican or on the Democrat side, I don't think there is a runoff. There's no runoff for that seat, but there is for lieutenant governor. So that's another thing that not on the Republican side though. The lieutenant governor, won his primary. The current lieutenant governor, easily, yeah, exactly. So, and they talk about that in here too, right? The same article, I believe. Yeah, but anyway, on the Democratic side, that's the runoff for that race for the lieutenant governor. So, who you'll have a chance to vote for on the Democratic side. So that's going to be an important runoff too. So, like we were saying last week, we never get a break. We got to vote in all these local elections. That's going to be in May, I believe. Is that right? When that runoff happens?
I think it is.
Yeah, May 24th. So put that on your calendars. Early vote if you can. It's not over yet. The candidates for governor are all set, and a lot of the other ones. Railroad commissioner. There's runoffs for that too, and that's one of those kind of deceptive offices because it doesn't really have that much to do with the railroad. It's really the oil industry is what that person regulates, which is responsible for a lot of money and a lot of lobbying in this state. So it's really a lot more important office than you would think if you're just kind of looking from the outside or just looking at the title. That person has.
That's where George P. Bush just came from.
He's where he came from, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a very powerful position in our state here in Texas. So yeah, man. Yeah. Any other perspective on that, brother?
No, you nailed it. I mean, you need to be vigilant and show up to vote because the field is pretty much set now. So we know who's who, and if you care, go out and vote.
Yeah. I haven't seen the numbers yet. I mean, we saw the terrible numbers about the mail-in ballots being rejected because of the new rules. That's a huge problem.
Yeah.
That's another reason we have to all vote all the time. Because we got to get those people out of there that voted for those new voting rules. It's just terrible. But I did see a lot of turnout. I did early voting early in the week, or early in the first week rather, and got in pretty easily. But I went with my wife to early vote later in the second week, and there was quite a long line. And I remember you said there was a big line on election day by your polling place, right? So
sat there and watched them. I was like, oh, this is great.
It's great that people are there. It's really great to see people there. But of course, we don't want the lines to be so long that people give up before they vote.
We legally can't bring you water anymore.
Oh, I know. Yeah, don't get busted for bringing water. Oh, man. Can you imagine? Jeez. I almost kind of want to be arrested for that. Make some noise. I don't know. But
it's like the lady in Ukraine. She was holding up those signs, and they came and got her.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. What was that?
Oh, she's an elderly lady, and she's against the war, and she's just holding those two signs that says, she was against the war for peace, and the jackbooted thugs came and got her.
Wow, the Russian soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Well,
geez.
I guess they were police, but they well, whatever they were, they came and got her.
Wow. Oh man, that's a whole other thing. I mean, I mean, I didn't have an article pulled up, but we should definitely discuss that. The war in the Ukraine in Ukraine this week. We used to always refer to it as the Ukraine, but it's really Ukraine is the name of the country, is the proper way to say it. And yeah, I mean that's affecting all of us. I mean, just morale-wise, to have that happening in the world just hurts everyone, in our humanity.
Hey, it's getting worse now. They're using munitions now that are totally unethical, and they don't care. I mean, and then having the country emerge from a pandemic to this, and you're just watching people just lose their home and their lives, and they're lining up trying to get out of the country, and like all the men can't go anywhere, so it's just women and children.
Yeah. Well, and it's still the middle of the dang winter over there. I mean,
and they have serious winters there. It's not like here.
I mean, there are going to be people freezing to death, because their home was destroyed or because they're trying to walk across the border, and that's going to be horrible. And and of course, I mean, all those countries that surround Ukraine already have a refugee crisis of people coming from Syria, from the south.
Right.
All over Europe, and it's really horrible. I mean, on the practical side, we're affected immediately with the gas prices, and that's going to affect us, as musicians trying to work and things like that. I mean, it's not too severe yet here in Texas, but other states are seeing it more. But it's still, I don't think it's to the level that it was during the Gulf Wars or anything. But we'll see. I hope it resolves quickly, because the humanitarian end of it is going to get worse the more they mess around, the more they delay the resolution of that conflict.
And who knows what they really want? I mean,
that seems to be what they're trying to figure out, and I don't think we're qualified to really even discuss it. But but what does Putin want? What does the Russian leader want from doing this?
Well, the ultimate goal is he doesn't want them in NATO. We get that. So
but of course now they want to be in NATO even more, because
now they all do. Like they see this and go, we're not going to wait. Where's the paperwork?
So it's man, terrible stuff, but we'll see. And of course the Ukrainian president was in the entertainment industry before he was the president, which is maybe a little too similar to our previous president here in some ways, but
and he played a president.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and now he is the president. I mean, how ironic.
It's a little too on the nose in some ways. Although he is well liked, and he's given some really nice, really inspiring speeches. I think I saw him speaking to the EU, the European Union Parliament, a few days ago. On Zoom, of course, and that was a really inspiring speech about how the Ukrainian people will not give up, shall not be moved.
He's a very impressive guy.
And he's refusing to leave the country. He put out that statement about how he didn't need a ride. He needed bullets,
ammunition. He's a very impressive guy.
Yeah, so we'll see.
See why he's elected.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad it wasn't just the TV connection.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
You're actually presidential. Yeah. He's very impressive guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So. Anyway, the next thing I've got as far as articles is an article about the Frank Erwin Center. How they're kind of closing the Frank Erwin Center, and it's being replaced by the Moody Center. That's.
They played their last basketball game last week.
Yeah, it's a big thing for Texas State, or University of Texas basketball.
Yeah.
But a lot of concerts, were over there. We saw a lot of great concerts were there. So, did you see any concerts there? You see anybody there?
I saw Prince there.
Oh man, damn!
One of the few people that actually fill that place up.
Well, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Stevie Wonder played over there.
Yeah.
All kinds of people. But geez, you were at that Prince concert? I can't touch that. I can't touch that.
Yes, sir.
I did see a Tom Petty concert over there. That was great. But Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So many great concerts were there, and the acoustics were not great in that room, but you could do a good job with sound. I heard concerts that had very good sound in that place, and other
Right.
concerts that did not have good sound. So, yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to work on it. It wasn't built for that, but
No. Yeah. It was a
you have to
basketball
work on
arena.
it. But,
Yeah.
yeah, but I'll kind of miss it.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and of course, it was called the drum. It was named
Yeah,
after a musical instrument. That was a cool thing too. So we'll see. But a nice article about that. And let's see. The last article is about it's just just about the runoffs again. So yeah, that's about all I had on the docket there. I suppose we could also talk about this is a big week in Austin for that Amplify movement
that's right.
for all the
That's right.
nonprofits, and it's a really nice week of giving for all the nonprofits. As far as soliciting donations and a lot of money is raised this week every year. And we always have a few people that ask, like, oh, hey, how come the Austin Federation of Musicians doesn't do Amplify Austin? And there are very good reasons for that. The main one being that it would be illegal for us to do that.
Right.
Although we are a
break the
nonprofit.
law.
Yes, we are a nonprofit, but we're a labor union, which is a different kind of nonprofit. And our funding has to, by law, all come from our members. That's how our members know that the office and the elected officials like us are working for them and no one else.
Right.
No one else can put their money in there and say, oh, why don't you guys focus on this part of town or whatever. They can't influence us at all.
There's no conflict of interest.
Yes,
None whatsoever.
Yeah, there is no concern greater than the musicians' concern, and we're the only musicians organization that really can say that, because we don't take money from anyone else, and so that's why, if in case anyone was wondering, that's watching this show. Although if you're watching this show, you're probably not wondering, but you probably already knew. But anyway, yeah. So great stuff, man. Anything else we should mention before we sign off?
Well, there is one thing that loan, grant that was out there for a while.
Yes, the city
There
grant.
there was a lot of backlash because a lot of people didn't qualify for it, and they were asking about it. I said, well, a lot of it had to do with where you live. Well, they didn't know that part. They just applied, and you got to live in the vicinity of Austin.
Right.
You can't be on the outskirts. And they're like, well, they didn't tell me. So did you read the email completely?
That's interesting. Yeah, I hadn't heard. I saw some folks posting on Facebook about that they hadn't received it, but I didn't see why. But you've actually talked to several people.
Yeah, they were people that got in touch with me like, well, why didn't I get it?
Oh wow! And that turned out to be the reason, was that with their actual residential address was outside of the zone. Oh, and that has to do with that real estate. The real estate prices we were just talking about. We are all sort of moving out from the center of the city because the affordable housing is just not there. So city efforts that attempt to help artists in that way are going to have to cast a little bit of a wider net. If they want to catch more of us. Wow. Geez, I hadn't heard that part of it. I had heard from some folks that said that their letter that said that they didn't get the grant said something about that the money had been exhausted by the time they got to the application or something. So I don't know. It sounded like they had a lot of money when they were making that grant, but it sounds like they used all of it. So there you go. That's an indicator of how
fast they went.
Yeah. Well, and how things are actually going. That there are a lot of people in need. I didn't even apply for it, I just because I didn't have time to do it. And I think I would have made the requirements, but I don't know. We don't know. But it's I think I was telling you this the other day. I mean, I think the last month, February, really, for me personally, was business-wise, it was actually the worst month of the whole pandemic for me. But it's really picking up this month, and especially now, today, with the stages going down again today. You're getting even more calls today. So.
Yeah.
So we're feeling good about that, but February was bad for business, and yeah. So we're definitely glad to see things picking up, and I would love to hear from any of the viewers as well as how it's going for you and what's going on. We've been talking about having some guests at some point, so we'll keep working on that, and Thanks for bringing that up, man. Is there an art? I don't think there's an article about that yet. I don't think the city has.
No.
It's just kind of
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And it was up there, and it's gone now. I think the fund's pretty well exhausted. But the other thing is that the fund for rent relief is still there, so you can still apply for that. And when the money does show up, they'll get to you.
Yeah, you can still sign up to be on the waiting list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the email list, and you should definitely do that. Yeah, yep. But if you live in some of the outer communities, they might have their own rent relief that isn't the city of Austin. So you should look if you live in the surrounding areas of the metro area, or if you live in the further counties too. If you live in Marble Falls, they might have their own.
Right.
If you live in Giddings, Bastrop, they might have their own rent relief. If you need that kind of help, it is out there in different places. I know I think Hayes just got a bunch more money, Hayes County, and so, try to stay in your house. That's
right. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds almost, silly to say it, but try to stay in your house. That's, you don't want to be, moving during all this if you don't have to. So, jeez, man. But luckily, the work is looking up. The weather's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as we burn that cedar off, it'll be a little easier to work
better.
outside.
It's gonna be 80 this weekend.
Yeah. But we do have to still watch out for the rain this time of year. You want to get a rain clause in your contract, rain location. Can't be playing in the rain, especially if you're playing electric instruments, man. Don't do it.
One shot, you'll be gone.
You'll fizzle out. Yeah, that's right. So, So, all right. Well, I guess we'll sign off there. That's all right.
That's good.
Yeah, right on. Okay.
Nothing else.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you're in the music business watching this, don't give up. We can get through this. We can do our business better using union contracts. Using the wage scale, using union contracts on our recordings. Protect your recordings. Don't leave money on the table. There's all kinds of things we say all the time. If you want to know about the union, give us a call. Give us an email. We talk to people all the time. We're talking to people all the time. A lot of interest in unions in general right now because we have to get it back from the robber barons as they have once been called. The working people have to pull their power back in the United States, and we're doing that through unions, and we're doing that in the music industry through the American Federation of Musicians and the Austin Federation of Musicians. So, give us a call, give us an email, text, Facebook message, whatever you send us a TikTok video, whatever you're doing, and we'll get in touch. And we'll be back again next week on the 11th with the Get Back, and we will see you then. Take care.